Hey guys, welcome back to the Sniper Chronicles. Today we're coming back at you with another Ratchet video. Okay, this one is a Great Neck, and the model on this is the 28000. But before we jump into this, a little bit of YouTube business. I have a goal I'm trying to reach by beginning of summer, end of June, and the goal is to reach about 2,000 subscribers, and the only way I'm going to reach my 2,000 subscriber goal is for you to give me the HBO special. What's the HBO special, you ask? Okay, the HBO special is the Help a Brother Out special. Hit the like button and hit that subscribe button, and I'll give you 2 seconds to do that. Okay guys, you guys that help me out, I really appreciate it. Okay, this is the Great Neck 28000. It's a 3/8 drive ratchet. Doesn't have quick release, and as you can see, the switch is swinging when it's ratcheting, so that's a dead giveaway for a Batwing style paw in the mechanism. And these Great Neck, I'm not too sure about Great Neck. The only thing I remember about Great Neck was there used to be a store called Pergament, and Pergament was kind of more of a department store style Home Depot, where Home Depot is more like a big box store with the big box shelves and aisles. This Pergament was a little bit more department store style ish, kind of like a, I don't know, what would you say, like maybe more of a Walmart or a Target, but a Home Depot style merchandise. And they were the only place I remember that had Great Neck tools as a retailer. So that's going back a ways, probably over 20 years. So I don't know much about Great Neck and who sold them except for that one store, Pergament. Okay, this one looks pretty decent. It has a plate with the engraving. This plate got pitted and I had to evapor-rust it, but it has kind of that engraving that you see on higher end sort of ratchets. Replace worn parts, warning, inspect, clean and oil regularly. So it has kind of like that, a little bit higher end, more so than you would expect, and maybe cheaper ratchets, or like those cheaper round head ratchets. This is not USA, this is Taiwan. Doesn't say it, but I'll bet the farm that this is Taiwan. It's definitely not USA, but and it's not China. This is a bit older. China wasn't up to snuff back then to produce something even as good as this. Okay, let's open it up and see what we find. This is, again, has like a weird Torx, or slightly weird, a Torx 8. So you would have to have a Torx 8 on hand if you want to open this up. And there's one screw. And there's the other screw. These screws don't look, or I can't really see any like Loctite or thread locker on these screws. So unless I'm not seeing it, it looks like something there, but I doubt that's Loctite or thread locker. Okay, you open it up, pull up on the anvil a little bit, and the plate comes off. And the plate It's a little bit thick, not the thickest and not the heaviest either, but I guess it's pretty good for Taiwan. And here is the gear. The gear is 36 teeth on it. This one doesn't look like it was used much at all. Except, what is that? There's one tooth there that looks a little suspect. I think it was, yeah, the tip of that got caught in the torque. So I think one tooth is a little bit damaged. And here is the inside of the mechanism. The switch is kind of looks like it sticks out quite a bit, and it looks kind of rough. Doesn't look smooth or well machined or anything. Looks like just like a rough. I don't know if it was like that when it came out of the box or the package, but this is how I got it, and it doesn't look too refined. And for comparison, here's something pretty similar. It's a Duralast ratchet from when Duralast was doing these styles of ratchets maybe 10 years ago. Then they moved on from this. This is a 36 tooth also. For some reason seems better than this, even though it's very similar. Let me take the gear off. The gear is for you guys that are always saying, oh, you never oil your ratchets. This one I just open it up, and this is what it looks like with the super lube on it. But here's just a comparison. This one looks a little bit thicker. The walls, especially up here, the walls look a little bit thicker than over here. They both have the bat wings. This one's smaller with a screw that holds it, and that one has like a smaller screw, I guess you would call it, but pretty similar in design. See, this one has a nicer switch. You see how it's like kind of nicely machined and a lot flatter. This one just looks like a little blob. Doesn't look as nice. And I guess the fit and finish on this one's a little bit better. And also this one, the gear has a gasket or rubber gasket on the anvil side. This one, I don't think came with a gasket. Nope, there's nothing there. So, and to finish taking this apart, you would just open up the screw here for the pawl, and it's probably a lot similar to these screws. It's probably interchangeable, I'm not sure, but they look pretty much exactly the same. And you try to catch the ball, because there's a ball and spring underneath here, and make sure it doesn't shoot out. But that's what the pawl looks like. And let me get the switch. And there's the ball. The ball is kind of small, so be careful with it. And there's a spring in there, and I'm just going to leave it in there. That's what the rest of it looks like. Not too bad here. The thickness here is pretty good on the pawl side. And here's the pawl. Has like the cutout for the screw there, and has 2 teeth per side underneath, side view, and the back is kind of got a hex shape, and that fits in the hex opening here for the switch. and that's how it holds on to it when it's screwed together. And that's the switch, and there's no gaskets on the switch. You can see how rough the switch is. It's probably, you see underneath is probably had a little bit of chrome at some point that kind of wore off. And yeah, that's your components right there. Everything that makes up this ratchet. Not too bad. Looks okay. A little bit of a step down maybe from the Duralast, or OEM makes a pretty similar, almost exact copy of the Duralast still to this day, and it's pretty expensive. Last time I checked on Amazon, it was like $36 for the ratchet. Okay, so you balance the ball on the spring, and then you take your paw and you try to get it onto the ball there. And now you take your switch and try to orient it to what position the paw is in, so it can mate there. Okay, I don't know if you can see back there, but they kind of flush, both of them. Now you take your screw, put that in, and you screw your switch on. Make sure it's oriented correctly and it's ratcheting correctly. There you go. And you don't want to torque this down really hard, because this switch doesn't give me much confidence in the strength, so you don't want to strip out the threads inside the switch when you are putting the switch back on. So I wouldn't go too hard on it. And now you take your gear. You see the, okay, yeah. This one had like a little cutout at the bottom for some reason, even though this is the Duralast, even though it didn't, the gear was flat on the bottom like this one, but that's kind of interesting that that one had, and this one's totally flat on the bottom. This one, the great neck. And now you just put your plate on. Take your screws and you screw your plate back on. Again, I wouldn't go too much on tightening the plate on. If you need more tight, I would just get some thread lock or Loctite or something like that. I don't really trust these screws or how good the metal is. You know, you don't want to strip this out. If you do, you know, I guess you can go bigger, maybe a little bit bigger, and try to re-tap holes that are a little bit bigger, but there's not much room there to play with if you see the edges there of the plate. So I just would say just go easy and avoid the problem altogether. And you see if it's working. It's working. Yeah. So yeah, that's the teardown of the Great Neck 28000. Not a bad ratchet. Seems pretty decent. Like I said, the Duralast style and the OEM style, maybe a little bit of a step above. They have the gasket, and the fit and finish seems a little bit better. The switch seems a little bit better, but I guess all in all, very similar to this great neck. All right, guys. Until next time.